What's up, guys? This is GWReborn today for a video for you guys that a lot of people have been either waiting on or are just wanting to see more of. So I get a lot of people in game as well as on YouTube ask about hero builds as well as the most optimal ways to do them in all PvE player base, from dungeons to speed clears, all of the hard mode and normal mode missions and vanquishes, etc. So this hero setup should give you everything you need for PvE in general. So let's go ahead and get started. Before that, I just would like to say thank you guys for always watching. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe. Like the video if you haven't already. It's simple as 2 seconds. Just click that like button. And I'm going to be giving you a rundown of everything needed with this hero setup, as well as what's going to be required for the weapons. Also, what you want to do with the runes. And then some strategy as to how this player-based hero setup works with me as a monk versus other professions. So before that, just like to start off with, you can, with this hero setup, you're going to be able to be any profession. So I'm a monk. Obviously, I'm running damage. I call it AP, Assassin's Promise Caller. So I'm just going to go ahead and say a generic build. So if you use the first 4 spells, and then the last 4 spells can be up to you and your discretion. So any slash assassin secondary profession can run an Assassin's Promise build. So that will be also part of this. And keep in mind, guys, everything I'm discussing, build-wise, the templates, the runes, the weapons required, etc., is going to be in the video description. So there's your information you need to go look at. Go to the bottom of the video for the vid description for all info. That's a very critical part that I need you guys to do. So instead of just asking me, go ahead and do that as well. So anything you need to see will be all in the description. Alright, so before you guys ask questions, do that as well. It's going to be a lot of money invested to do this. I'd say at least 500 to 600 platinum. It also depends on if the runes are available as well. So that's another thing you got to think about. Alright, so let's dig deep. So I already covered this first part, just the no profession, secondary, assassin. Any profession can work. So don't worry about your attributes for that. As long as you're running your 12 deadly arts, your other option can be these last 4, can be whatever you want. So I just went ahead and did smiting, since hey, I can throw in 2 smiting skills, a res for a backup, and then some kind of support heal. Alright, so for the heroes, let's go ahead and get started with the builds. So first off, your Necros and your Mesmers are going to be the most crucial of this. You're going to have 3 Mesmers, and you're going to have 3 Necros, and then you're also going to have a Ritualist. So it's pretty much a caster damage support team with E-Surge. Energy Surge is your critical part of damage. So you're going to have 3 Energy Surge Mesmers with almost the exact same form of build. The only thing different was, if you really look into it, is one of them is going to have a res. You really could alter some of these skills to more benefit depending on the area you're fighting in, but in general the critique gives you what you need with your 4 to 5 optimal spells between rupting, damage, energy management, and that's really all you need from your mesmers, with the exact same concept for all of them. So I just put warrior secondary for 2 of them, and then the writ secondary for the other, so I knew which one was res. So you can put 2 or 3 reses or just 1 res, as long as you have at least one of them resing. Alright, now to go into the Necros. So you're going to have a heal support Necro. I personally like this build because it's like a prot support. It's really critical for if an ally in the party is taking critical hits, such as you when you go in, or one of the other casters. So they have that 3 to 5 second support where this elite will literally take majority of the damage and reduce it and then give you a heal support. So that helps with spikes, especially when you get large groups hitting one ally member. Then you also have a BIP. BIP, Blood of Power, is very critical for this, especially running 3 Mesmers. Energies is going to be a problem if you don't run Blood is Power. So unless you're a Necro and you're going to be running Blood is Power instead of AP Caller, you're going to want to run BIP in your party. So definitely recommend running this build. And keep in mind that all of these builds are going to be in the description. I'm going to go over the runes as well. So a BIP, and this is your profession for that. And then the last one of the Necro is a Minion Master. So this one is a little bit iffy. I personally like the matter of me making a strong focus for shouts with the Paragon secondary for the Necro. This gives you speed boost ×2. So instead of having just fallback, you also are going to have incoming in there as your elite. So that gives you double focus on the speed of the run. So especially in vanquishes, when you're trying to run around, you have a second shout in there, so you can compensate for that. And you really don't need an elite necro skill for this. Some people might take Ore of Lich in place of it, which is perfectly fine. I personally think 100% with just one Bone Fiend is all you need, because after you do about 10 minutes of accruing minions, or even less, you're going to have your 10 to 12 minions at any given time, so you're never going to worry about having to make more. Because the monk is the necro monk support and your necro writ support are going to be healing them so they never die. Plus you have blood as mastery. So anyway, that's it. Minion master for there. And then soul twisting ritualist. That's another one you're definitely going to want, because of the fact that you are running a more, as you'll see next, a more heavy damage intensive team. So you're not going to have high health. As you can see, a lot of my heroes' health is below 400 or right a little over 400. It just depends on how your runes are set up, as well as how your superior vigors are and your energy and health is, which you'll see next on the list. So keep in mind that this is actually ongoing for, like, there's little tweaks you can always do to your heroes whenever you want. So if y'all have any questions about this, comment and ask in the comments, but be sure to first check out the video description as well for the build templates and the runes. Alright, now we're going to go on to the runes. For personal, for your own, since you're running Caller AP, you don't need to worry about the runes. As long as you just have like a high energy staff, that's all I'm running. So now let's go into the mesmers. So all three mesmers you're going to want to run 16 domination with, I personally like to run 3 fast casting as well. That gives you a lot more benefit on activation time, especially when you're running in hard mode. You're going to want that fast activation time, so that extra 3 fast casting is also going to benefit. And the same exact concept is going to be runes for all 3. So you're going to be runing all 3 of your mesmers with Prodigy, Insignias times 5. I run with armor for this because you want to have heavy armor support over health and energy. I used to do energy, but I honestly noticed that I have a little bit more benefit and gain from the armor support, especially when you have multiple recharging spells with this Prodigy insignia on these mesmers, plus 10 to 15 armor at any given time while you're fighting. Can be a really big benefit when you have it on 5 pieces of your armor. So your mesmers are going to have like between 120 and 160 armor when they're fighting, which is way more beneficial than that extra 6 to 8 energy, especially when you have a BIP supporting it anyway. So you're going to want 16 domination, so plus 3 domination. I personally never did spend the extra amount of money, especially now with runes. The rune trader is ridiculous. I think they were 95 platinum a piece. So I went ahead and just did major vigors on my heroes. 9 health, it's a little bit. It ain't going to matter much, especially when you're running concepts like I do. But hey, it adds up. Every penny counts. So major rune versus superior vigor rune is a big jump. So if you can't afford it, major is perfectly fine. If you can, I recommend doing the 50 HP though. So you have your fast casting, then you have your, I'm running Vitae's instead of energy just because I have dual superiors. So I'm wanting to run Vitae's instead of attunements for the energy runes, since I need more health to support that. So that's for the mesmer. Now for the necro. The first one's going to be the necro monk support. So I'm going to be running a triple times 3, the soul reaping, the highest possible. The reason is it's going to be a heavy energy roll, especially when you're running 2 10 to 15 energy management spells. That's going to be spamming a lot. They're going to be wanting that soul reaping as high as possible, since a lot of enemies are going to die. That's going to give you an energy boost. Not just with the BIP. The BIP can't ever compete with the energy supply for a necromonk support like this. So that's definitely going to be critical with soul reaping. Same concept on all the heroes. Superior vigor if you can afford it, or just a major works as well. Also, I added in 1 curses. The reason I did that is just because it's just 1 extra bonus. It's going to give you a little bit of extra support on the signet and the weakness spell that I have in here. And then the others is just going to be Vitae's for health, like I mentioned before. You could also do the energy if you want. It's all discretion on what you decide for this one. Now the last thing before I go to the next one on the necromonk support is tormentors. You want tormentors insignia times 5. The reason for this goes back to the same concept as the mesmer, where you have the prodigies for armor. You're also going to want the tormentors. Tormentors is specified just for the necros because it does have a boost of armor gain. You may gain a little extra damage towards the holy damage, but instantly 10 armor per armor piece. That's insane. That's plus 50 armor per necro. That's going to be a huge support gain for the necro. Same concept for the other two necros as well. You're going to do the same thing with the tormentors. So you get the tormentors Insignias. And for the BIP, I am actually focusing on soul reaping and blood. So you have +3 blood on the headpiece and then +2 for soul reaping. I didn't do +3 because that -35 extra health, the BIP is already struggling on health with a 33% sacrifice, so I didn't want to drop his health too bad worse than it already was. So, but we'll make it work. It's all discretion on what you want to do. And then of course just the major vigor and the attunements or the Vitaes, depending on how you prefer it. Last but not least, the Minion Master. Minion Master, you obviously want the highest death magic, especially when you're going to be having minions that you need the high level to do extra damage, as well as the highest level for the minions to be. And I did add a non-stacking Bloodstain insignia to this. The reason I did that is because you're going to want to have that extra casting time, so like it's a little bit better, more benefit, reduces the casting time with that Bloodstain. So you do go ahead and add that, and then the other 4 can be Tormentors. So, moving on to the last thing before we're almost over with this video. Keep in mind, guys, subscribe if you haven't. I hope this is good information. Comment if you have questions, and stay tuned for more info on this. Alright, so the Tormentors on the other 4 pieces, and that's really all you need to know for this one. And the last one is the Soul Twisting Ritualist. Goes back to the same concept, superior communing. So since communing is a soul twisting writ, and then you're spawning, I just did +2 instead of 3, since that extra 1 isn't going to matter as much as that 35 health. Already struggling on health, but it gives me enough health boost. And then I use Blessed Insignias on the writ, because the Ritualist is always going to have Boon of Creation, so it's already going to have energy management with that, as well as it's always going to manage a spell enchantment, so that's always going to be enchanted. So there's another 50 armor added to the armor just because of being enchanted. So that's why I did the Blessed. So on to the weapons before we end. Alright, so we have the 20/20 or 40/40 set for the Mesmers. 40/40 set is just the wand and offhand with 20/20, 40/40, or 20/20 sets. I call it 40/40 set because you have 40 and 40. 20/20 is a 40 and the 20/20 is 40. The Necro, you're going to have for the Necromonk just any high energy with 20% enchanted staff works. You could do a 40/40 prot wand and offhand, but I just do high energy with 20% enchantment. Now for the BIP, I'm using a 40/40 restoration. The reason for is the BIP is going to be casting blood a lot, but it's going to be mainly focusing on healing the party as well. So I went ahead and did a 40/40 restoration instead of a blood magic, since it's only 1 or 2 blood magic spells. Now for the Minion Master, a 40/40 death magic, because it is going to be casting a lot of spells with the death magic, and shouts aren't going to matter for that, so you only want to focus on the death magic, so a 40/40 for that. And last but not least, just a basic 20% enchanted high energy staff for your soul twisting writ. So that's all I got, guys. Hope this was some good information. Stay tuned for more videos I'm going to be doing in the future with vanquishes, PvEs, dungeons, speed clears with the heroes of this build set that you can go ahead and try out yourself. I'm pretty sure it will be supportive. One last thing before I end. Just remember that consets and summoning stones can go a long way with PvE, so use them when you can, especially in some of these harder dungeons and speed clears, or PvE missions and vanquishes, but try it first without the conset if you're on a budget, because you never know. Majority of you are going to be able to do without the conset, but there's going to be some where you're struggling, and that's where you want that conset, or there's going to be times where you're going to want to micromanage some of your heroes to compensate for certain things, such as a BIP maybe needed to be casted sometimes manually, or you might need to cast your spirit sometimes, or you might need to get out of the area by flagging your heroes away with fallback and incoming, and you cast those and flag away. That's some of the things you need to do. But besides that, I hope I answered all your questions. I think I haven't missed anything. Oh, fight. You want to have fight on your caster mesmers, guard on your supports, and then fight on your minion master. So 4 fights, 3 guards. There you go. I think I haven't missed anything. Video description for anything you need to know about this stuff. Heroes, the build, the runes required, the weapons. Alright, later guys. Stay tuned for more videos.